Today we're talking about the brand new 7artisans 35mm T2. But first, if you're new to the channel, my name is Anson, and on this channel we talk about filmmaking, specifically filmmaking gear, tutorials, and a look at the projects that I'm working on. And so if that's something you're into, consider subscribing. Yes, I'm living the girl dad life. Now, over the last couple months, 7artisans have announced that they are putting out some full-frame cinema lenses. These will be deemed their Spectrum lineup, and this comes after the launch of their Vision lineup, which is a Super 35 cinema lens lineup. And so the Spectrum lineup is definitely intended for full-frame or large format filmmaking. And so with that, I did reach out to 7artisans to try to test one of these out. So I do want to say that this has been sent to me from 7artisans, but as always, I'm not requiring I say anything specifically, and so you get my full and honest opinion. Now, with that said, we are going to break down this lens as we do always by the image, the build, and my overall thoughts / who I think will be useful for. And let's start by talking about the image. Right now, you may even seen from the title that this is the cheapest full frame cinema lens for the L mount system. Now, there is a caveat to that because you can technically get Rokinons for a little bit cheaper, but they don't have any L mount native lenses. And so this is the cheapest L mount native cinema lens that you can get that is a full frame cinema lens. So with that said, does it skimp on performance? And I'll be honest, I don't think it does. Now, overall, I do think this lens is fairly sharp, and at T2, you are going to get the equivalent of around f1.8 if you're more familiar with photo lenses. And so that T2 aperture is going to give you some decent subject isolation, especially being on large format or full frame sensors, because you're already collecting more light having those bigger sensors. One thing you will want to know is I noticed a lot of focus breathing. And so if focus breathing is something that drives you crazy, know that that is a thing. That really is up to opinion. That's really up to taste. If focus breathing bothers you, obviously you may not want to look at this lens, but know that you're going to be spending a lot more to have more controlled focus breathing. I'll be honest, I look for a lot of chromatic aberration. I didn't notice a ton. One thing you'll notice is I actually filmed my daughter painting, and that was a pretty heavily backlit scenario. And even when I was inspecting the images from that shoot, I really didn't notice a ton of chromatic aberration. Now, overall, especially for a lens at this price point, I really was pleased with the image performance. But that is not the only thing that this lens has going for it. And so with that, let's talk about the build of the lens, because this is a solidly built lens. You do get an all metal construction. You have your industry standard pitched gears on your iris and focus ring, and you do have a pretty long focus throw. Now, something else I appreciate about the lens is you do have an 82mm filter thread, and so you can fit your normal, maybe larger screw-on filters with this lens. And so that's a really nice thing. You don't have to necessarily go to a matte box scenario, but it is a really nice thing every once in a while to be able to use a variable ND or maybe some other screw-on filters you may already have in your collection. But with that said, the build is actually something that really impresses me for what you're getting at this price point. And so between the image and the build, what are my overall thoughts and who would I recommend this to? Well, overall thoughts is, like I said before, I'm really happy with how this lens performs. A couple of weeks ago, I actually tested one of the Vision lineup lenses. That was a really nice lens as far as performance. And so seeing these Spectrum lenses performing equally as well and staying around the price point that the Vision lenses are is a breath of fresh air to budget conscious cinematographers. And so that goes into who I might recommend this for. If you are looking at cinema lenses that cover a full frame sensor, you're okay with that T2 aperture, this is absolutely a lens to check out. These are very inexpensive cinema lenses for what they offer. Now, with that said, are they the best budget cinema lens? Maybe not, but the fact that they are competing image quality wise and build quality wise with lenses that are twice the cost of this lens is just amazing. And so again, if you are a budget conscious cinematographer or filmmaker and you're looking at a inexpensive set of lenses, definitely check out the new Spectrum lenses from 7artisans. And so that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to give it a like. And if you're digging the overall content from the channel, consider subscribing. If you do have any more questions about this lens, let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you for joining. Go and find your journey. Go embrace life. Peace. I don't know why that took me so long to say, but See you here next time.